Thank you for subscribing to our channel. Today is Tuesday, February 9, 2021. BBC report: South Africa in shock after AstraZeneca vaccine rollout halted. 1.5 million doses of the jab had been bought for healthcare workers and they were due to start getting their vaccinations this week. There is no denying that they feel anxious. Siviwa Gwarubi, head of health for the main opposition Democratic Alliance, said the setback left them vulnerable to a third wave. South Africa has recorded almost 1.5 million coronavirus cases and more than 46,000 deaths since the pandemic began, a higher toll than any other country on the continent.
Fox report: Merkel under fire for failing to choose sides between communist China and capitalist US. You have to give it to Chancellor Merkel. She outmaneuvered Joe Biden in just 3 weeks. Merkel made it clear she would not take sides between communist China and capitalist America, reversed the 10,000 U.S. troop withdrawal that Trump previously announced and got the Biden administration to stop enforcing Nord Stream 2 sanctions, Grenell said. Last week, Biden froze the plan to withdraw American troops from the Federal Republic.
Fox report: Police in Burma cracked down on crowds defying protest ban. Police cracked down on demonstrators opposing Burma's military coup, firing warning shots and shooting water cannons to disperse crowds that took to the streets again Tuesday in defiance of rules making protests illegal. Reports of many injured demonstrators drew strong concern from the UN's office in Burma. According to reports from Nay Pyi Taw, Mandalay and other cities, numerous demonstrators have been injured, some of them seriously, by security forces in connection with the current protests across the country, the U.
CNN report: GM extends shutdown at 3 plants due to chip shortage. The computer chip shortage is taking a bigger bite out of General Motors' production plans than the company originally expected. Last week GM announced that 3 of its North American plants, the Fairfax plant in Kansas City, Kansas, the Kami plant in Ingersoll, Ontario and the San Luis Potosi plant in Mexico, would be shuttered this week due to the chip shortage. But on Tuesday the automaker said it would extend the shutdown through at least mid-March, at which time it will reassess its production plans.
Fox report: Brawl erupts among Illinois teens inside trampoline park, video shows. A video of a chaotic brawl among teenagers inside an Illinois trampoline park on Saturday has gone viral. The more than 8-minute-long clip, which was posted to YouTube on Sunday, had more than 62,319 views at the time of reporting. In it, the group of dozens of unruly Peoria Elevate trampoline park goers, mostly seen without face masks, take swings at each other, pull hair, shove, kick, throw trash cans and signs, and push around staff members in the facility's lobby.
Al Jazeera report: Bitcoin nears $50,000 as cryptocurrencies ride Tesla wave. Bitcoin powered to a record high on Tuesday, approaching the $50,000 mark, basking in the afterglow of Elon Musk-led Tesla's investment in the cryptocurrency that had investors believing it may become a mainstream asset class. The most popular cryptocurrency has gained 1,150% since its March 2020 lows, as institutional investors searched for alternative investments and retail traders rode the wave.
Deutsche Welle report: EU hints at new sanctions amid pressure from Navalny aides. The EU said it would consider new sanctions against Russia in a row over jailed opposition leader Alexei Navalny on Tuesday, following a meeting with the politician's aides. Last week, a Moscow court decided to send Navalny to a penal colony for 2 years and 8 months. Moscow saw democracy as an existential threat, said the EU's top diplomat Josep Borrell. There seems to be almost no room for the development of democratic alternatives. They are merciless in stifling any such attempts.
CNN report: Fossil fuel air pollution causes almost 1 in 5 deaths globally each year. More than 8 million people around the world die each year as a result of breathing polluted air that contains particles from fossil fuels, a new study has found. Burning fossil fuels such as coal and oil produces greenhouse gases that trap solar radiation in the atmosphere and cause climate change. But it also releases tiny poisonous particles known as PM2.5. Small enough to penetrate deep into the lungs, these particles can aggravate respiratory conditions like asthma and can lead to lung cancer, coronary heart disease, strokes and early death. Deutsche Welle report: Trump impeachment trial starts in U.S. Senate.
The second impeachment trial of former U.S. President Donald Trump began Tuesday with an opening prayer ahead of a debate over whether the U.S. Constitution allows an ex-president to be tried by the Senate. Republicans argue that the trial is not constitutional because Trump is no longer in office. Democrats and many constitutional scholars have said there is no January exception laid out in the Constitution to protect a president whose term has concluded if that president had committed impeachable offenses.
BBC report. France Mila affair. 5 held for death threats after anti-Islam video. Mila, 17, had to change schools last year after an Instagram video for her friends in which she criticized Islam was widely shared on social media. She then posted another video on social media site TikTok last November which prompted a new wave of threats. She was getting about 30 hate messages a minute at one point, her lawyer said. France's online hate crimes task force took over the case. Mila, who is known in France only by her first name, is originally from the eastern Isère region.
Fox report. Missing Oregon woman helped hitchhiker shortly before she disappeared, report says. An Oregon woman who has been missing for more than 7 months told her father shortly before she disappeared that she had picked up a hitchhiker while on a road trip she took while grieving her brother's death, according to a recent report. Fauna Frey, 45, was reported missing on July 5, 2020, just 1 week after she called her father, John, from a hotel and told him she had stopped near Wilderville, approximately 150 miles south of her hometown of Dexter, to give a hitchhiker a ride, he told local news station KTVL-TV on Sunday.
CNN report. A $15 minimum wage would hurt those it's meant to help. Nathan Mayo is membership director for the True Charity Initiative. The opinions expressed in this commentary are his own. First, it is not low wages that trap people in poverty. It is utter lack of employment. In 2019, when unemployment was at record lows, 70% of poor adults did not work at all. A mere 10% of the American poor held down a full-time job for a year. Given that 83% of people living in poverty have no disabilities, a significant percentage of the non-workers are able-bodied and still do not work.
Al Jazeera report. U.S. civil rights groups call on Biden to end federal executions. Dozens of prominent civil rights groups in the United States are urging U.S. President Joe Biden to reimpose a moratorium on federal executions, saying the practice has disproportionately targeted black people. In an open letter on Tuesday, the organizations also called on the Biden administration to commute the sentences of the 49 inmates currently on federal death row. We write to urge you to act on your promise of ensuring equality, equity, and justice in our criminal legal system by immediately commuting the sentences of all individuals under federal sentence of death, and reinstating the federal moratorium on the use of the death penalty, the letter reads.
Deutsche Welle report. Hungary's opposition Club Radio to be taken off the air. Club Radio, one of Hungary's last independent radio broadcasters, will be taken off the air on February 15 after a Budapest court on Tuesday upheld a decision by regulators to revoke the station's license. The station, which has been broadcasting for 19 years, often featured talk shows with guests who would criticize policies of Hungary's nationalist government, led by Prime Minister Viktor Orban. In a statement issued last week, the National Association of Hungarian Journalists called Club Radio the only remaining public service broadcaster in Hungary whose content is not under government influence. The Prime Minister has been criticized in recent years by the European Union for slowly dismantling democratic principles in Hungary, including clamping down on media. Media watchdogs say state-owned broadcasters in Hungary are becoming government mouthpieces while other outlets are shut down or taken over by owners loyal to Orban. Hungary's Media Council, which is packed with Orban supporters, decided in September not to renew Club Radio's broadcasting license, citing
CNN report. How blockchain could make fashion greener. Fashion brands are increasingly keen to tout their green credentials, but with clothes production often involving complex global supply chains, they can't always guarantee environmentally friendly materials are being used. Textile Genesis believes the technology that underpins cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin can help. The company, based in Hong Kong and India, wants to make the fashion industry more transparent by using blockchain to digitize the supply chain, helping brands track clothes production from the raw materials to the finished article.
Al Jazeera report. Palestinian factions agree on mechanisms for long-delayed polls. Palestinian factions Fatah and Hamas say they have agreed on the mechanisms for upcoming legislative and presidential elections, after a rapprochement between the two movements. The deal reached on Tuesday in Egypt's capital provides for an electoral cases court, and commits to allowing free campaigning and voting. A joint statement at the end of the two-day session in Cairo said both groups and 12 other Palestinian factions pledged to abide by the timetable for the long-delayed balloting and respect and accept the results.
BBC report. Kobe Bryant crash. Pilot broke flight rules, safety investigators say. The helicopter smashed into a hillside near Calabasas, California in January 2020. Pilot Ara Zobayan was among the dead. He had told air traffic controllers the helicopter was climbing out of heavy cloud when it was actually descending. The U.S. National Transportation Safety Board (NTSB) said it could be a sign the pilot was disorientated amid the fog. Disorientation can set in when pilots can't see the sky or landscape, making it harder to judge an aircraft's altitude and acceleration.
Thank you for watching 5 p.m. recap. To be notified, you can subscribe our channel and activate the bell.